Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is episode number 138 of the Audible Farm podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is my favorite coffee. It's the only coffee I drink if I've got a choice. If I run out, it's a rough day, so I always try to order some to have some extra on hand. If you guys are looking for some awesome coffee that's roasted to order, that means each batch is roasted specifically for whoever orders it. Check out Couchtown Coffee. It's roasted by a local musician here in Iowa, and they'll ship it directly to your house and roast it to your specifications. Check them out at www.couchtowncoffee.com. Find a coffee you like, make an order, and when you do, enter Audible Farm when you make your order, and they will give you 20% off. All you got to do is say, hey, Audible Farm sent us. Boom, 20% off. Why? Because Couchtown Coffee is that awesome. This episode is also brought to you by the Broken Strings Foundation. Broken Strings has a goal of giving a guitar to one student in every school district in Iowa. They call it the 367 Initiative, or the 367 Campaign, I guess. And it's such a good cause. It's not like there's a shortage of musicians out there, but if there's any way we can give back in any form, man, I just love it. I taught guitar lessons for a while. And, it just felt really good to show music to younger people. And when I taught guitar lessons, it was even older people. But, this is one of the coolest ways to give back to the younger community and show them how much fun it is to actually play guitar and just have fun with this. So check them out. I got all the links down below for them. If you want to make donations, you can make donations directly to them down below. Just find the information down below there. And otherwise, they have the ability to help out a lot of people, and it's going to be really, really fun. They throw events every now and then, and it's just such a fun cause, started by some great people. So check it out. All the links for that are down below. So thank you very much, Broken Strings. This episode, I'm sitting down with Jesse Wilson. When we recorded this episode, the two of us had just got done playing three roughly 4-hour shows each day during the weekend that I recorded this. So we were a little worn out, and as I record this intro, I'm still a little worn out from doing all those shows, but it was tons of fun. And I figured, what better way to sit down and cap off the awesome weekend than to sit down with Jesse and talk to him about it. Jesse's a singer-songwriter. He's been playing music for a while now. Maybe a little over a year or so as a solo artist. He has a history of playing a few other shows in a cover band back in the day. But it's kind of cool. I've been playing with him most of 2021 here, and it's cool to see how far he's come in such a short amount of time. It's also really fun to see that he likes to try to incorporate other musicians, not just myself, into the shows. Sometimes he'll bring in another bassist. If I've got another gig lined up, he'll bring in a different guitarist to play leads with him. And, it's that tagline I gave him. It was, you never know who's going to show up to a Jesse Wilson music show. So that's why he always calls it Jesse Wilson Music and Friends. We talk about that kind of stuff, bringing in other musicians, involving the crowd. Even if musicians show up in the crowd to watch him play, sometimes during the break, instead of playing music over the PA system, he'll let other musicians come up and play a tune or two during the breaks. So it's really cool to see him kind of progress, to stand right next to him and watch him. And it's really kind of also cool to know that, as he's not really done, like a million live shows, even though he's starting to really pick up a lot of dates, it's really cool to watch him progress over the last year or so since I've played with him, and just the 3 or 4 months I've been playing shows with him, he's gotten so much better at doing what he does and interacting with the crowd. And we just talk about perfecting the live show and interacting with the crowd and things like that. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I sit down with my buddy Jesse Wilson, and this is episode 138 with Jesse Wilson of Jesse Wilson Music.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
All right, today I'm sitting down with Jesse Wilson. Jesse and I have been playing a lot of shows lately together. And let me adjust the volume just a touch. Doo-doo, boop, 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 boop. All right, Jesse and I have been playing a lot of shows together lately under the moniker of Jesse Wilson and Friends. It's pretty cool that you got that moniker. I kind of gave you the tagline of "You never know who's going to show up at a Jesse Wilson show," and that's it works beautifully for the Jesse Wilson and Friends because sometimes I play with you, and you've had other people play with you in the past. I've even played bass with you at a couple shows here and there. Dan Blair played with you. Let's see. Vince Benishek played with you at a show.
Moreland, yeah.
Yeah, did some leads with you. Otherwise, we've been playing shows lately, and the last one we played together, Alejandro Trevino showed up and played a couple.
Rocked it.
Yep. Pull that mic maybe a little closer to your face if you want, but so I just wanted to sit down and talk with you and talk about some of the things that have been happening, because the first time we did a podcast together, it was you and me and Clint, and you were kind of just starting to do solo shows, and after that, we did another podcast together in the same room here. It was after I just started doing some videos and stuff like that, but you were kind of just starting to find your footing as far as being a solo musician and things like that, because being a singer-songwriter and playing some covers and things like that. I've done very, very little bits of singing on my own and playing acoustic guitar, and you're out there on an island by yourself when you're doing that stuff. So, I always just try to harken back to the whole thing where it's just like, this is Jesse's thing. I'm not going to make you recall it like, Wilson and Stockdale or anything like that, because it's all up to you.
Never know.
But you're the one putting in all the heavy lifting on this, as far as I'm concerned. You're the one sitting here at home practicing all the songs, because you got to get down all these chord changes and get all the singing down and everything like that. And it's one of those things I think to myself. Like I said, I've done a little bit of it on my own, but it's not something I want to do. So hats off to you for actually going out and doing it.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
So yeah, another thing I've noticed is, from some of the first shows I went and played with you to playing now, is you're starting to like really dial in a set list that fits the crowd really well.
Yep, got plenty of material now, so we can, kind of cater to if we have to,
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the funnest things. We played a show in Stratford, and the show was originally supposed to be, like a 4-hour show, which in some of the first podcasts I did, I talked to people. I was like, how do you cover 4 hours? Because all I was doing was punk band stuff, and we're covering like maybe 2 hours tops. And I'm thinking to myself, 4 hours, good Lord, it's like, well, you take a couple breaks and it's usually like 3.5 hours or so, but
right.
We played that show in Stratford and we took one break, and, Nate and Eric, some guys we met at Jam Night, they jumped up there and played a couple tunes. Then we got back up there and we just never stopped, man.
Just kept going. They actually came with an envelope. You guys want to play a little longer? And we did.
Yeah.
Blast.
Yep. Stuffed another envelope in there for you. And that was some of the funnest things ever, because it's like, I just looked at him like, if you got enough material to cover this, I'll keep playing leads and doing the background stuff here.
Sacrifice the fingers.
Yeah, and I mean it's wild, because I never once in a million years thought that I'd be doing 4-hour shows, and then this last weekend you and I did 3 4-hour shows, like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that was another one where Sunday was supposed to be 2 hours, and by the time we looked down and we were done, it was like we just played 4 till almost 8 o'clock.
You're having fun, man.
And that's the thing, though. When I first started doing this, I was always looking at my clock, like, how much time we got left? How much time we got left? How much time we got left? Is it time to take a break yet? And it was always that kind of thing. I'm like, I'm nervous. Is it gonna work out? Is it gonna be okay? And
You're
then
bargaining with yourself in your head.
Yeah, like just go a couple more, and then we could take a break, and then I'll go take a little break and go, oh, my poor fingers or whatever, But now it's to the point where, like, the last couple shows we were playing, it's just like, you just look over like, you want to play some more? It's like, yeah, let's play some more, man.
Having fun, man. Just having fun.
I think that's what it is. Is actually you and I are starting to get comfortable enough playing with one another live, where it's just like this. It's actually really, really fun, and
the music is reflecting it too. That we're jiving and doing so many shows. It's putting out some good sound.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna pull that microphone up to your face. I know it's gonna be a pain in the butt to hold it in your face, but heavy is the hand. But some of that I would definitely say is like, I'm not necessarily a country guy. So some of the first shows we were playing, it was just like, like we're just playing through songs. I'm like, what do I do with these songs? Do I blues them up a little bit, or what do I do? And now I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable playing country style
all over
licks,
the neck every time.
Yeah. That's the thing. I was talking about that with Matt Woods in a previous podcast. I'm getting good at moving up and down the neck a little bit better, and getting a little more comfortable playing some country style licks, or I'm not a chicken picker, but I'm getting used to doing some of those chicken picky style licks and things like that, and I get a little bit more comfortable listening to the country music, and some of the songs are becoming more familiar with me, and
we even put our own spin on them, country per se,
yeah,
put our little swang on it.
Yeah, and it's new country, it's old country,
Yep.
but it's not just that. One of the things I think I like about watching you play live or playing with you live is the fact that you don't just play country music.
Right.
So like you started blending in like hip hop and different R&B and things like that in there. And
a couple of my originals have some hip hop verses on them.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and that's another thing. It's your live music is not just the only thing that's Jesse Wilson Music and Friends. Every now and then you'll throw somebody else in new playing. Every one of your studio recordings is like, well, we got this guy playing bass on this, and that guy's playing leads, and this song you co-wrote with Scott Kirkhart, and that one's got James Tyler in it, this one's got Cal in it, and it's really cool to have some of those hip hop guys jumping in and doing some of your tracks with you, and
I just don't want to ever be boxed in on something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Get creative. Get out of your comfort zone. Get creative.
Yeah, that's what it is too. I think it's kind of fun. Just like I said, when we were playing in Stratford, it didn't matter. There was older people, younger people. There were people there wearing your rhinestones and the whole 9 yards, and they were
line dancing.
line dancing with you to some of those older country songs. And then you were busting out some new country songs, and the younger people would get up and start dancing around in front of us. And I think some of that has to do with. You and I were talking about it, but like we played, and I'm not trying to say this place is not as good or whatever, but we played at Antlers, and Antlers doesn't have the capacity to put a couple hundred people in it,
Yep.
So we were playing to, a few dozen people or so, and it's just like, the energy, it just felt like you were a little zapped out there, and then we went the next night to Stratford and played at the Copperhead Saloon.
Total different atmosphere.
Different atmosphere, different building, the place was bigger, we got to use a bigger setup while we were there. I think we ended up using just one of the towers at one of the speaker towers in Antlers, and then in Stratford we used the whole full setup. I brought an extra cabinet to fill the room.
We had it cranked up too.
Yeah, it wasn't loud, but it was it was
clean, loud. It was nice.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was kind of cool to have that be like an availability to us, and that show in Stratford was kind of eye opening for me because it made me realize like you and I do have the ability to cover that much time.
Yep.
And even if you have to use like a little cheater sheet on your phone.
Yep.
And then I was thinking to myself like, well, you should know all the songs by heart, know all the lyrics, and then the more you and I go to shows, kind of we pal around and go to shows together, and it's like, well, that guy's using an iPad to play half of his songs, and this guy's using an iPad to play all of his songs.
And because the set list is ever evolving, I'm constantly learning new songs, so I have a little cheat sheet until I learn the song, then I don't have to look at it no more,
Yeah, and it's not like the cheat sheet's bad. I know some people will look down on it, but I also know other people that, like, that's all they do is play cover band stuff, and they're like, I always use a teleprompter to tell me what song, like, what words to sing, because it's not like, they got better things to do than memorize 5 hours worth of lyrics,
Right. That's a lot. That's a lot.
It really is, and there's nothing against people that use the cheater sheets either, because when I did a couple live shows, I didn't even put them on an iPhone or an iPad or anything. I brought in sheets of paper and put them on a music stand. So I kicked it super old school when I was doing it. But
I'm gonna hit a button real quick.
You got it, yeah. But it's one of those things I always think to myself. There's no right or wrong way to eat the Reese's of live music, and it's. It just is what it is, and I think it's really fun we go to the jam nights together and play with different people, and you kind of get
It's always fun.
Yeah, you get the ability to vibe with different people. So,
heck yeah.
What are some of like your favorite things about some of the more recent shows we've played? Because like I said, this last weekend we played 3 shows, and the weekend before that we played a couple, and then we played, a weekday show at Sneakers here or there, and then we did that weekend where we were in Clare and then Stratford. So, what are some of your favorite things about going from one venue to the next and figuring out like about yourself and playing these live shows or tailoring your set list to the crowd, etc.?
Sure. I learn something from every show, I think, and just try and get better every show. Stratford was just incredibly rocking. Just, I don't know, the people dancing and everything. When the crowd gets into it, we tend to turn up a little bit more, But I just love being busy now and just staying busy doing what we love, having fun, man. Just having a blast.
Yeah, it really is that. Some of it is the crowd, because like the last time we played at Stratford, I said, I don't know if it's something in the water. I don't know if it's the wait staff. I don't know if it's the venue, the people that come to this show. I don't know if it's just the fact that we're out of town, you know, a little out of our comfort zone. So we're down there, and if we turn it up a little bit when we get out of town or what it is, but
we are reaching out too. We're going to Centerville
next
weekend.
Yeah. We might as well be in Missouri. We're going to be so far south, you know, it's
pretty far down there.
It's a ways down there, you know, and I mean, I'm not against driving to play live music. I've driven a long ways to play live music before in other bands I've been in. So, you know, it's fun to play a different style of music than I'm used to, because I grew up playing like punk music and metal music mostly,
right?
And then I just started like doing a lot of blues stuff, and me and Dan Blair played some blues shows here and there, very sparsely, and you know, that was something I realized, like, oh, I can incorporate a little bit of my blues into what you're doing, and what you're doing is like you're kind of like rocking up these country songs, you know, so it all kind of just mushes together into something that's a unique sound, you know. And so, who are some of the people you've like helped network with, you know, to help kind of figure out where you can go to play these shows, or who's been putting in the good words for you and things like that?
Man, Mr. Adam Whitehead's been putting in a good word for us down south everywhere he goes. So that's kind of how we got hooked up with Chebs. Mm-hmm. And then in return, I mean, I put him on up here with bootleggers and put him in touch with sneakers. He's been coming up here regularly. So people like him and Scott Kirkhart getting up on like Broken String stage with all them talented musicians was just incredible. Both times it was amazing. Definitely those two guys have been a big part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Scott's one of the nicest people. I'm wearing his 367 campaign shirt right now. Strings. So, you know, that was another cool show. I didn't partake in that as a performer. I didn't even have to do anything at that show. I was just like, maybe I should take some video. No, they got somebody they paid to do video. It's like, maybe I should take some pictures. No, they got professional photographers.
Yeah. Sit back and enjoy.
Yeah, and then it was like, maybe I'll play some. And I was like, nah, I ain't gonna play anything. You know, there's plenty of musicians in here. I'll let everybody else take the stage. You know, and somebody said, well, maybe you should walk around and interview people. I'm like, nah, you know, it's whatever. I'm just gonna kick back and enjoy it. And that was a fun show.
It was awesome
to see all of you guys going up there Nashville style and doing everybody's kind of playing their own tune, and every now and then somebody would throw in a couple licks on a song, or
everybody got to jamming up there.
Yeah, somebody else would like, oh, I'm gonna pick up a harmonica and play some harmonica to this tune or whatever, and. You know, I would go through and name everybody, but I'd hate to
miss somebody.
Yeah, see here. I think I could probably name everyone, but once again, I'd hate to be that one, like leave one person out. And be
Danny
like,
Grouse, Corey Waller, Neil Anders, Scott Kirkhart, Jesse Wilson, Clint Riedel,
and Jeremy
over. Nailed it.
Yeah. So okay. So I could have named them all if I really, really like thought about it. But that's the other thing. There was some other people playing in between there too that played a couple tunes. And, And I think Nate and Eric might have gone up there and played a little bit. Or Scotty sang a song too, Scotty Rockstar. And, you know, those are a lot of that stuff. I think like Scotty's been playing music for a while and singing. So I've seen him around for over the last 10 years or so, you know, singing tunes and things like that. And Jeremy as well. And, you know, when I first started coming around playing my own leads on top of other people's stuff or going to jam nights, you know, Jeremy and Clint were some of the first people I ended up meeting. And
Jeremy for sure. I knew him for a long time.
Yeah, I remember being in a band in high school, and Jeremy was in Brutal Republic. I mean, he always has been. He is Brutal Republic, but you know, he invited us to play a show with him once, and it was just like, can we just play all, you know, punk covers or something? And he's just like, you got any originals? And it's like, well, we got one, you know, and it's like, I don't know if we'd fit in and all this other stuff, so we opted out of playing that show. Probably should have just played it just for the fun of it, but you know, the punk band I was in high school, we didn't play too many live shows really. I mean, they'd ask us like, hey, can you come play like 4th of July at the swimming pool, or can you come play like one of the shows we played was like the 1-year anniversary of the Bradgate tornado that like destroyed Bradgate, so we played that and donated the money back to them for that, and it was, you know, it was pretty fun. It's quite a bit night and day difference. And you were in a cover band before, so what do you think about the difference between being in that and then coming out here and actually playing your own tunes and mixing some country in there and being the front man and doing the singing and all that other stuff?
Man, I was in a cover band, Dirty Thunder. We had one original song. It was "Break These Chains." We don't really do that one too much, but
no, you have played that song before.
Yeah, we'll definitely do it. When my cousin Chris was singing, it was amazing. I was I was rhythm guitar, so I do a little backup and rhythm on the old Gibson, but it's kind of a different ballgame having to, you know, stand up and play for one, learn the lyrics, learn the new chords, but it's all coming together. And I found that every time I get out of my comfort zone, it's something good has usually happened. So I'm almost trying to toe that line quite a bit.
Yeah. It's nerve-wracking when you start doing that stuff, for sure. I still remember the first show I went and played with you. I was playing bass, and I was just like, oh no, this is going to be
Here we go.
interesting. You know, like what is this going to be? Because I'm primarily a guitar player. I do play some bass, but like for a while, like Brad usually plays bass at the jam nights, but for a while Brad wasn't coming, you know, and then it was just like, well, I guess I'll be the guy bringing the bass, and then Owen O'Brien started showing up to the jam nights, and so it's like, all right, Owen's going to be playing bass now, you know, and that's another cool thing is the last show we played.
Sat down with the set Bootleggers on Sunday.
Yeah, we played at Bootleggers on a Sunday show, which is, you know, a rarity. There aren't too many Sunday shows available to people to play, but the place was packed. We had
it was perfect.
It was great. I was scared it was going to rain. I was honestly like super scared. I had blankets in my car and everything to cover stuff up if we needed to, you know, quick. But yeah, Owen was there. It was really fun to have Owen up there playing with us because he joins us every now and then when we play shows. Yep. If he's got the ability or the I guess availability, he's got the ability.
Talented young individual.
Yeah, and that's another one where he's got to get out of his comfort zone because he's so used to playing like Primus style licks and all these like really. Yeah. I call it like bass banjo. You know, it's like it's like you're playing the banjo, but you're playing a bass guitar. And so he's got to like, I don't want to say dumb it down for us, but he's got to, you know, throw it back to a little bit more basic bass lines instead of going all over the neck and getting nuts. Right. But it does take a lot of pressure off me where like sometimes you'll be singing something, I'll have to tag in between lyrics and sing.
Right. Well, we had 3-4 hour shows this weekend. Yeah. We were pretty shot come Sunday. My voice, I don't know if you can hear my voice, but it's not all there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and I think we did really good though, honestly. It was the first time we packed in that many shows in as much time as we did, and once again, like you get up there and you start playing, and once you're having that much fun, it's like you almost don't want to stop. You know, that Bootlegger show was just kind of like, oh, we're done? Right, we're already done?
We had plenty of time,
Yeah, you know, and it's like, well, we got 3.5 hours into that show and only took like 1 or 2 breaks, like, and they were short breaks. I remember the one time we were at Bootleggers and we were taking a break, and we were like 3 minutes into this break, and this little girl walks up and she says, "Hey, will you play more music?" And I said, "Go ask the big man over there." And so the lady and their little daughter, I think it was her daughter anyways, she's just like, "Hey, will you play some more music? My daughter wants to hear you play." And you're just like, "We're going up right now." And we just stopped and turned around and went right back up on stage and started playing more, you know.
I'm a sucker.
You know, and it was tons of fun to play more music for her and watch her really enjoy it, you know. And if it's not for the adult, you know, people that are there, it's for the kids too. Because we've played, you know, mixed shows where it's not just at a bar where only adults are allowed in. You know,
and kid-friendly stuff.
Yeah, you know, and like that Bootleggers one was kind of like a reception for a funeral that happened. So there was a very mixed crowd there: older people, younger people, you know, regular bar patrons, and everybody was there.
I feel like we fit in with all of them.
Yeah, and once again, some of that comes back to tailoring your set list or picking the right amount of songs or the right songs to play at the right times and things like that. So, you know, like let's run down some of this stuff. Like, what are some of the older country songs that you play?
Oh, like a little David Allan Coe with a Ride. Play some Johnny Cash.
Yep. And you got some like 90s country in there as well.
Yeah, we got some Toby Keith, Should Have Been a Cowboy. Do some Zach Brown Band. We do
Travis Tritt.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I always throw in there. Travis Tritt.
Yeah, we do a little bit of everything. We did a little Brooks and Dunn last time at Stratford inside. That was line dancing material.
Yeah.
Neon Moon, we killed that one.
Yeah, and speaking of Moon, you got New Country, Nico Moon.
Nico Moon, yep, cover him. Good time.
Yeah, I mean, we got like country from like, you know, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way up through now, pretty much. We're playing a little bit of something from everything.
And then the other end,
we
got a little Yellow Wolf. We got a little, what is it, 369?
Little John.
Little John and the East Side Boys. We throw them out there.
Yeah, I mean, the last show we played, you had some Sublime you were playing.
Yep.
And then, you know, we had somebody come up and they were just like singing along with us. And all you did was you just like leaned the microphone over to them and let
Justin
them start. Let him started singing it. And I don't know. That's just so much fun when you can get the crowd involved to do stuff like that.
He said that after that. He's like, I see why you guys do. Everybody was locked in up there on that one. You had a good time.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's the other thing. It's not just about, I mean, I was talking with Clint about this. You know, you and I went to that El Rey's.
Live and Dive.
Yeah, El Rey's. What do they call that? It's like the writer's circle.
On Mondays, yeah.
And so we went to that once and played, and we met a guy named Michael Husky. And even him and I were talking about that the other day where when you're up on stage, you're not just a musician, you're an entertainer of sorts, you know. Yep. And whatever you can do to bring the crowd in and get the crowd involved in,
absolutely,
it helps out a lot, you know. Things like either pandering to the crowd or taking requests, you know, because that's something else you do where
We've been doing more of that lately.
Yeah, and I mean, that's where the cheater sheet kind of comes in handy, where it's like, well, give me a second. I'll see if I can look this. I know that song. Let me look it up here, and I'll find the chords, and we'll give it a whirl. You
Make
know,
somebody's night. They'll remember that stuff.
exactly.
Yep.
You know, and that's the other thing. Like using the cheater sheet. I'm just gonna call it that because I don't know what else to call
It's
it.
just my phone.
Yeah, we like pull up an app, and you can like look up songs, and it has this is the approximate chord progression and lyrics of what's going on, and you can use that. But like, has your spot reading like on the spot improved from beforehand till now? Because like beforehand it was just like we got to memorize this stuff and then show up and play it from memory and stuff like that, and now it's someone will be like, can you play this George Strait song or whatever, and you're like oh, man, I don't know, and you look it up and you're like, let's give it a whirl.
I still don't have the perfect angle figured out for my little phone. If I had an iPad, maybe it'd be a little better, but
yeah, I think maybe like the only thing I would say was like a lot of those times it's underneath the microphone,
right.
So you'll if people watching, you'll have the microphone here and then your cheat sheet's down here, so you're playing and you're like looking down,
right,
which is kind of beneficial. But at the same time, like if I was doing it, I would put it above the microphone, because I don't really have to look at my hands if I'm playing open chords and things like that. But
give it a try.
But I guess it is 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
When we were playing with Scott for up in Stratford, Scott Kirkhart came and opened up that show for us. And we put in a good word for him, and then they watched him play, and they were just like, this guy's cool.
Yeah, I loved him.
Yeah, we need to get this guy back here. But Scott's is like waist high, and I think that's just because like his is just there in case of a backup type situation.
Right.
If he needs it, it's there, but he doesn't really have to have it.
See the whole song on one page.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, having an iPad would be nice.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, I have an iPad, but I guess I should maybe I should just bust that out and start using that. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But that's the other thing is when you're singing, I'm not the front man. I don't sing any songs. I do background vocals mostly.
You've been getting in the backup vocals lately.
Yeah, I honestly have. Doing the private party that we did this last weekend was something that kind of like, like I said, I brought it sometimes and I sang a little bit, and then there was that one time at jam night where that one lady shushed me because and it's like that's whatever, but
yeah, shake it off.
Yeah, well that's what it was. I mean, it took me months to like even get in front of a microphone again, because it was just like, man, I must suck, so I better just quit singing forever, And
comfort zone thing, remember?
Yeah. I just got to remember that, and I got to get after it. So, but I think about that kind of stuff where it's like we played that private party, and everyone was so just hyped up and inviting and loving everything that was going on. And there was even a couple songs where like I just biffed the solo, where it's like, is it in this key? And I started playing. It's like, oh, all those notes were horrible. And then it's like, you go to the next, it's like, oh, it's in this key. And then it's like, no, it's not. And then it's just like, whatever, we'll just go back into the chorus again. I'll figure it out by the next time we come around.
Don't be too modest. You had a fan club by the end of that, chanting your name.
Yeah. But that was the fun part, was it was just like, I think to myself, like, oh, I wrecked a song, and now that's all they're going to remember. It's like, no, they don't. They remembered the 2 hours prior where you're killing it.
Exactly.
And the one song, if I laugh it off, everyone else will laugh it off with me, and it doesn't happen all the time, but every now and then a sour note comes out.
Live music, man. Definitely.
So what are some of the biggest struggles you found? Like now that you're more comfortable on stage and playing, what are some of the bigger struggles that you found while you're still, going up there playing live music?
And I'm drawing a blank right now.
Oh man. So I guess like for me it's definitely just doing background vocals still. Like I can sing and hold a note okay. I do a lot better if there's somebody else there to help me along with it. So if you're singing, it's like, oh, I just got to match what he's doing, or try to like match what he's doing and then move around it a little bit, so I can like do some of that stuff. I'm
just getting more comfortable up there. Like the songs on my phone that I have to look at, those are the ones that I worry about. Because I want to sound good. We're building our set to just be rocking the whole time. Next one's going to be a banger. Next one, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's the ones that's what I stress about the most, is just doing good on the songs that we don't have memorized yet. Yeah. I would say.
So like, I guess the next question for that would be like, do you plan on like memorizing like 400 different songs, or are you going to end up just keep bringing that cheat sheet with you just in case? Or
I'll probably, since the set list is ever evolving,
Yeah.
I don't think a guy could memorize. Maybe they could if they're original stuff or whatever, but I don't know if I'm ever going to memorize 5 hours or 6 or, material wise.
Yeah. I mean, if I think about some people that could probably do that, maybe a Jeremy Ober, maybe a Chris Carr, but those people are, Jeremy's someone, he's only a couple years older than I am, but he's already 20 years plus into playing.
Right.
You know, and then you think about Chris Carr. It's like Chris Carr's probably been doing this 40 or 50 years. You
yeah.
know, so he's you know, they've been doing it a while, so they've had more practice. They've got more
once
shows.
Once the song's locked in, like you don't forget if it's really locked in and you like the song. You've done it so many times, you know.
Mm-hmm. Keep that mic up close. No,
here we go.
Yeah, there you go. But
yeah, my voice is not helping that either.
No.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the private party Friday. I forgot the set list. I forgot one thing. It was the set list, and we did like at least 3 hours without a set list. Maybe peaked it. We made a random one.
Yeah.
And when we got there, halfway through.
Yeah, at the very end, the last break we took, it was just like, all right, now I'm running a blank. So what can we play?
Yeah. So.
But that was the other thing too, where I always think to myself, like, we're going to play this song, and I'm just like, I don't know this song, you know, and it's like, but by the time we got to that private party, you were just like, what song should we play next? And I'm just like, how about this one, you know, and like some of them, I don't know the name for them, like with the song that kind of goes like this, or like, what about that one that's kind of like a little bit hip hoppy or whatever, and you're like, oh, this one, I'm like, okay, so, you know, and then like, if you're like, what should we do next? I'm like, you got any originals left? And you're like, oh, I got a couple. And it's like, well, let's play one of them, you know? So
we're getting some reps in, and it's starting to show, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one of my favorite things about playing country music and things like that is whether or not I want to, there's a few songs that I'm starting to like, you know, really enjoy playing. Even
growing on you?
Yeah, even if I wouldn't listen to it live or something like that. I mean, the obvious one that I could like point at would be like just about anything by Tyler Childers.
Yeah.
I never in a million years thought I'd be a fan of his work, but now it's just kind of like, it doesn't matter who I'm playing with, if it's at a jam night, if it's this song or that song, it's just like, yeah, that's a killer song.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
We do like 3 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and I mean, Follow You to Virgie is like the first song of his I ever heard. I don't know if it's probably the first song a lot of people heard of his or whatever. It's maybe one of his more popular songs, or maybe just his most popular song amongst us playing live, you know, because
White House Road's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you and I play that song. Clint plays that song. There's a couple other people around that play that song every now and then, and I mean, we've been playing a lot of different shows. The more I sit back and think about it, you know, we played a show in Waterloo. We played Iowa City. We played a few different places here in town.
Yep.
Finally got to hit up on stage at Shiny Top, you know, and that
was fun.
That's another cool one for me, is like getting to go on the stages that I've seen so many different people play on, you know. And
very cool.
It's really kind of neat because, I mean, I think about like Shiny Top, and it's like, well, I've seen Jeremy play there. I've seen Clint play there. I've seen the Blue Ribbon Ramblers play there. I've seen Matt Woods play there, you know, and you go up and down the line. I've seen a lot of different people play there. And, you know, one of the coolest things about that show, I think, was the fact that one of your first times you played live anywhere, you were at Shiny Top watching Clint play.
Yep.
And Clint was just like, yeah, there's another musician in the house. Jesse, get up here and play a couple tunes.
He's awesome for that. He's definitely cool about that,
Yeah.
Get you up there and get your feet wet.
Yeah, and I don't think I would, you know, I point at Clint and Jeremy Ober and probably also Chris Carr as the 3 people that like inspired me to do this. You know, Chris has always been really positive with me, and Jeremy's always been really encouraging. I used to go to the Patty's Pub jam nights, and I just like hide in the back. I'd bring a guitar and just like sit in the back in the corner.
There's like heavy hitters there, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like your Scott Dahls and your Dean Davises and everybody else, and it was just like, I don't know. I'll just hide back here, and if he sees me, I'll go up there, I guess, or whatever. But of course, it's Jeremy Ober. He's just like, I think we got another musician in the house. Peter Stockdale's back there. Why don't you get on up here and play a couple songs? It's like, oh no!
You nailed your Jeremy Ober impression, by the way.
The voice of God. No, but he saw me, and he just encourages me to get up there, and you know, and he's not one of those guys where it's like, you suck, get off the stage. You know, if you're having a rough go of it, he'll walk over and be like, give it one of these numbers, or try it out in this key, or do some of this or whatever. And it's like,
right on.
Yeah, all right, cool. You know, and that's something I learned from him, was how to be tactful. And I think some of that comes from the fact that he gives guitar lessons, so he wants to build people up and help them. He's not there to tear people down at all, you know. And
I think one of the first jams I ever went to was at the second floor of the Eagles or something.
Yeah, yep.
I was scared to death. Went up there and played like a CCR song, and it was full band, and they were all probably like Patty's guys, talented, and they were very welcoming. And I sucked. I'm very sure I sucked, but they sat through with me, and I had a blast. So
yeah, that's some of the funnest things ever too, because like some of the best advice I ever got for playing live music came at jam nights, and it's a lot of it's on the fly,
Yep.
I've said it a million times over on the podcast, but I'll point at it once again, and I'll even call him out this time because I usually don't say who it was. But I was up there playing one time, and I was just like, I was talking with Scott Dahl, and I'm like, I don't know what to do when I get up there, like, and he's just like, just stay out of the way until it's your turn to get in the way, and then get in the way.
There you
and it's
go.
like, like I said, I've said it before. It's just like, is that mean? And I'm like, no, that's good advice.
That's pretty good advice.
It's pretty good advice, and that kind of taught me how to like properly do solos and things like that. If I go up there and you're trying to sing and I'm just trying to shred and bend notes and going all up and down the neck, it's
Yeah,
like
that wouldn't work
a
very well.
little distracting,
Yeah.
It's what it is, and then it's like, all right, so if I'm going to do some weird solo-y bits, make them really basic and really, really simple.
When the solo is time to shine.
That's when you start doing some goofy stuff or starting to bend notes and do lots of trills and triplets and other things that are going to stand out a little bit more. And, I was talking to Nate Craig with this at another jam night, and it's just kind of one of those things where, like, if you're going into a song and you're trying to play background stuff and you're out there just like all over the neck already, and then it's time to solo, it's like, where can you go from there?
Right, you've been all over it.
Yeah. If you're already at 10, where do you go from there?
Right.
You can't go any higher than that unless you got an amp that goes to 11,
Right.
a la Spinal Tap. Owen still hasn't seen Spinal Tap.
No?
No. He's young. I'll cut him a break. Oh, he's young.
Right.
But we'll go back to that Shiny Top gig. You and I playing at Shiny Top, and it was kind of cool. Like I said, I've seen so many different people play there, and I've been to a lot of shows there. And then we're up there playing, and who shows up? Clint Riedel.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're only playing 2 hours. We don't have to take a break. You
Right.
know, as a matter of fact, if we're only playing 2 hours now, I'd prefer we don't take a break.
Right, we can handle it.
We don't have to take a break. But it was just one of those things where it's like, Clint's here. Clint, you want to come up here and play a couple songs? So
Heck yeah.
it's kind of like payback, in a nice way to get him back up there
Heck
during
yeah.
one of your shows because that's what he did for you.
Yep. He
And it's
came up
not-
and played a couple songs, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think you played at least a couple, but it was one of those things where it's like, you didn't have to give up some of your stage time to Clint, but he did it for you, so why not do it for him?
Absolutely.
And it's not like he needs the extra exposure,
Sure.
but why not though? There's some people that came there just for you, and it's
Jesse
like, well,
Wilson and friends.
yeah, why not let him see Clint? And that's once again the Jesse Wilson and friends thing. You never know who's going to show up. Maybe you'll let somebody else play. Like the first time we played at Stratford, Nate and Eric went up there and played, and it's just like, oh, there's a couple musicians, and it's just like, you guys want to play some stuff while we
Heck
go on
yeah.
break? And they're like, yep. And it's like, get up here then.
Heck yeah.
You're on. And
Vino just randomly showed up to Bootleggers. He came up and rocked out. We had a blast.
oh yeah, it was so fun. Oh man.
Good time.
I gave him a bunch of crap. I was like, man, you're going to show me up here, But, I'm starting to get more comfortable with my own playing, too, where it's just like, well, Vino's got his own style. Everyone's got their own style.
for
so
sure.
so even if I can't play like Vino does, I play like I do, and guess who can play like I do? Probably nobody, So it's one of those things. It's not like I'm the greatest or anything like that, but it's...
You got the job.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think that's one of the things about being comfortable is with what you're playing is it's just like, well, you're not finger picking and doing crazy stuff like that, but at the same time, who's playing the acoustic and singing like you are?
Right?
Nobody.
Really?
Nobody's doing it, I can't do what you're doing, I mean,
Wow.
Jeremy Ober can sing and play guitar, but is he doing what you're doing? No.
Well,
Who's got the set list you got? Nobody. So it's like you start to think about those kind of things, and it's just like, yeah, this is its own thing,
it's getting exciting too. Anymore, like people are starting to call me to book shows. Like we're getting private parties. We're gonna book a float in July at Twin Lakes. So it's getting exciting.
Yeah, I believe
Having fun.
you pulled in a Ragbri gig somewhere too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah, Moreland is still. We're gonna find out Moreland possibly. Yep.
Yeah, so there's things in the works, which is kind of crazy, and I think that's kind of the goal of it all. Like when you're first starting out, you're just trying anywhere to play any shows. It's like, you go to support your buddies, and then they're like, I'm going to take a break, and it's like, wait, you want to come up and play a couple shows? It's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and play a couple
for
songs.
you on New Year's.
Yep.
Definitely.
So, and that's one of those things you just start to realize, like, hey, yeah, I'm starting to get some people realizing what I'm doing and enjoying what I'm doing, and like you said, the private parties, or you never know who's going to be in the crowd at a show. You could be at Bootleggers and somebody that owns another bar could be there, or I'll point at, Nate at Bootleggers. Nate goes to a lot of your shows at other
Yep.
bars,
Yep.
So he's going to other bars and watching you play, and he also goes to a lot of shows himself and finds different musicians, and he's like, this guy's cool. I'm bringing him to Bootleggers,
Which happened with
Michael Husky.
Yep, Michael
Yeah.
Husky.
And that's another cool thing too, is like you never know who you're going to run into. You know, you got all these cool people with all these cool stories, you know.
We
And
met him 3.5 hours away from home.
yeah. I think he was a ways away from home,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. So it's one of those deals where you kind of meet in the middle, and then, you know, Michael ended up coming up to Fort Dodge and playing a couple shows
And
stuff.
rocked it.
Yeah, he played at Sneakers. I mean, we couldn't see that one because we were at a show ourselves, but then we played. We played on Saturday, and we got done earlier in the day, and we had just enough time. It's like,
Okay, catch a set at Bootleggers.
yeah,
Yep.
it's one of those cool things where it's like you and I could have just went home and been like, we played 5 hours, we're done, you know.
Right.
But it's like, no, let's go check out another guy. We
Heck
saw this
yeah.
guy before. He's real fun, and so you get to watch what other people do on stage too, and you can kind of incorporate it. Like we said, you can just go up there and play music and then just be done, you know, and
Yeah.
never talk to the crowd. But you and I are starting to get a little more comfortable interacting with the crowd. Where one of the things in Stratford, it was just like we were doing, like, it was a bike run for
Angel Ride.
the Angel Ride, that's what they called it. But it was just like, who came from the farthest away, you know? And then, you know, some guy was just like, I rode in from Germany, and it's like, I don't know if he is
We
actually
were like, you win.
I don't know if he was from Germany, but like it was just like, wait, you rode your motorcycle from Germany? That's impressive. Like, you know, you
Across the pond.
start to just hem haw with these people or whatever, and someone says, "Are you from Humboldt?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Humboldt." And me too. And it's like, well, I feel sorry for you, but at least we got out of town, right? You know. So,
Small world.
yeah, it's real fun to have that kind of stuff going on. And then before you know it, like we were talking about that with that Humboldt thing, and someone from across was like, "I'm from Humboldt," and it's like, oh crap, there's a couple people from Humboldt here. And then
Yep.
we took a break. Come to find out, I actually went to school with that gal that went to Humboldt. And I was
Really?
just like, oh man, I didn't even recognize you. But yeah, it's really fun to go to these shows and start to see what other people are doing. Like Michael Husky would play like obscure songs, and he's just like, if anybody knows who this is, I'll buy you a beer.
That was pretty cool.
You know,
yeah.
so you know he's doing things like that to try to get the crowd interacting with him and get him involved. And
He was a pro. He's good.
you could tell he knows what he's doing, you
Yeah.
know, at least interacting with the crowd. And that's, you know, something I'll probably touch a little bit more on with him. I'll touch on that more with him. There we go. That's better phrasing. But, you know, I hope to get him on a podcast here soon. So if you guys are intrigued by any of those stories, stay tuned for that in the upcoming weeks, maybe. But, you know, it's really fun to sit down and talk with him about those kind of things, because I like to bounce these ideas off other entertainers about what they do. You know, like you and I
Right.
went to Sneakers and saw Jeremy play, and we can see what he's doing on stage. And we've been to enough jam nights, and we've seen Clint play live enough. We can kind of see what he does. And we can kind of incorporate some of our
Yeah.
our favorite bits of what other people are doing
I think
in
it's
there.
a big melting pot, all of us, really. You know?
You know, it really is. I've said it a million times over on the podcast, but this area up here is easily one of the most supportive. You know, when we were done in Stratford, we name dropped a few people. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
you should get these people down here. I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
like you saw Scott Kirkhart. If you like him, you'll like this. And if you're into more rock and stuff, you'll like this guy, you
Yeah.
know. And if you like singer-songwriter stuff, you'll like this guy or whatever. And
That's what it's about, man. Supporting each other. And, yeah.
yeah,
We do.
yeah, and it doesn't mean like we're the best. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Like, are we the most supportive? I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. But you know, this is the crowd we've interacted with, and there's about 6 or 7 different groups of people up here that play that are really supportive of what one another are doing. We go to each other's shows if we're not already playing other shows, and like I said earlier, if one of us is done at 8 and somebody else is playing, you know,
Go catch
you know,
part of their
7 to
set,
10,
man.
yeah, go catch the end of someone else's set, you
Absolutely.
know, because it's just what we do. And that's some of the funnest things to do, is to play shows and then you don't know somebody's going to show up, and they show up.
That's awesome.
You
It's
know.
always awesome when friends show up, man.
Yeah, once again, Vino at Bootleggers
That was awesome.
had no clue he was going to
Nope,
be there.
Just bopped in.
I don't even think Vino lives in Fort Dodge anymore. I
No,
think
I
he
think
lives in
Des
Des Moines,
Yeah.
you know, but you know, he's got family up here and he's
Said
got
he
friends
just
up
got
here.
into town. He saw my Snapchat story and bopped in.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, and that's another thing for like marketing and things like that. I never realized how powerful. Like, I'm always just like, you got to post this on your Facebook, Jesse, and you're just like, oh, okay, I will. But then I always forget that, like, dude, you got Snapchat and the Snapchat stories and your
Yeah.
Facebook stories and all
Yeah.
this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, I guess you could do that too. So I started like sharing some of the events on my Facebook stories. And it's wild. So many people are just like, dude, I saw this on your Facebook story. And it's like, I personally never, ever look at Facebook stories, but you don't know who's looking at them.
Yep.
You know, Instagram stories, same
They got
deal.
him on Instagram too. Yeah.
I don't have personal Instagram. I do have the Audible Farm Instagram. And every now and then I'll share stuff like from there, but I just try to leave that for podcast stuff. And, maybe I should get a personal Instagram. I don't know. Maybe not, but or maybe I should download Snapchat again and get Snapchat again. I don't know, but
I like Snapchat for advertising. I think it's worked pretty good.
It seems to work really good, actually. And, I will say, though, I did download Snapchat the other day again and got on it and then just saw all the messages people sent me and just opened them all up and then just deleted it again. Away I go, but.
Oh, that's why I deleted this, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just. I just got tired of Snapchat. I got tired of having all these social medias and just always checking them and being on them, just soaked up all my time. So I ended up putting time limits on my social medias.
Yeah, I get that.
Especially having the podcast and the band, and then I'm playing with you, and then I played a couple shows here and there with Clint, and I play shows with whoever's gonna ask me to play with them or go to jam nights and things like that. And it's just if I want to get other stuff done, I got to get off social media, and
unplug.
Yeah, and I think that's something I'm still learning how to do is balance it correctly. But
when you figure it out, let me know.
So, what are some of the funnest shows you've played at? Maybe not even with me, because like I said, you played that show with Vinny, and I'm sure that was tons of fun. You played with Debo before you played with me. Debo being Dan Blair, and even some of those shows, it was just hey, if you want, you can come play bass with us or whatever. So I got to some of the first shows I ever played with you, I played bass.
Yeah, I remember that.
So what are some of the funnest shows you've played at then?
Honestly, they've been lately. Stratford is probably one of the top ones when we played there that night.
Yep.
The private party that me and Dan did for a crawfish boil here in Fort Dodge, which I think we might have just booked this year's at Bootleggers. So
yeah,
we'll be doing that again. That was a good time. Man, Stratford was probably my top one. That was the best show. It was like a culmination of things that night, man. It just all fell into place, and I felt we should probably keep doing this.
Yeah, and that was, like we said, it was night and day difference. You go from a really small bar in a really small town to a saloon and grill / restaurant that's starting to book shows, and Stratford's not a big town either, but a lot of people from the smaller towns around there go in there to to eat there and to enjoy music or drink or whatever it happens to be. And, that was one of those crazy things where I walked in there and I was loading gear and I'm like, oh my God, this place is packed,
Couldn't even set up at first. It was so packed.
They're so packed in there. And then eventually they had to just they were just you guys are, you're supposed to start playing at 9 and it's 10 till. I think we're just going to have to start moving people. And it was just whatever you want to do. I don't want to tell people they have to move, so. Yeah. And they started moving people around and moving tables around and gave us space to play. And yeah,
good time.
I like to think about that too. Some of the funnest shows I think I played with you would definitely. I mean, I've only been playing with you 5 or 6 months here, but it's the first show I played was a New Year's Eve gig at Timbuck Brew,
and that was fun. That was really fun too.
That was tons of fun. I was super nervous. I brought the bass with, and
we didn't know what we were doing yet.
No, we were still trying to figure out what was going on or how we were going to do stuff. And that was one of the nights where we realized well, let's put it this way. Clint if he's going to play a duo show, it's Clint and Brad.
Yeah.
And Brad, is the bass and that, makes the rhythm that Clint's going to follow and stuff like that. And if he needs someone to fill solos, Brad plays some solos.
Sure.
Doesn't have to have somebody play solos, but if he wants to, boom, Brad's there,
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, maybe we could duplicate that or whatever. So I'll bring a bass just in case, And then that was a cool show because Nick Earhart just rando showed up.
Oh yeah.
And it's what are you doing here? He's like, I saw you guys were playing, so it's just 20 miles away. Just swing over, and it's
he should have hopped up there with us on bass.
Wait, he
right?
should have,
Yeah.
But once again, we were just finding our feet. We were just figuring out what we were doing and stuff. And I always think to myself if I was really insecure, I would just be no, I'm playing with you. This is my show, nobody else gets to play with you, but it's if somebody else is there, it's just I don't care, come on up. You want to play my guitar? You want to play the bass? You want to, I got it, if Owen's with us, play Owen's bass. I don't care, like when Vino showed up, it's Owen's here's the bass. And I was just no, he's playing the guitar. I'm going to go sit down and enjoy this, and I'm starting to realize that I enjoy watching other people play, and it's, some of it might just be the fact that I've played enough shows with you now where it's just let's see what somebody else can do with this.
Sure, we've been at jam night so many times. It's here, play my guitar or whatever, come up and rock. I'll sit down for a minute and enjoy the night.
Yeah. I mean, it's really fun to think about how far we've come as far as you and I just playing as a duo places because like I said, it's should we just copy what Clint and Brad are doing and I should play the bass because I could do bass solos or whatever. And then that night at Timbuk Brew, I played mostly electric guitar, and then it was
Yep.
just like, we can actually fill up a lot of time with leads and things like that, and do it that route.
Take some pressure off me and works out.
Yeah, and like having you sing and play the rhythm guitar takes a lot of pressure off me, because it's just like, well, all he's playing, you usually play through the opening chords once, and I'm just and I just like watch you, and I'm like, all right, he's doing this.
Yeah.
These are the chords. It's in this key, and then I'll play a solo, and I just like lock those chords in my brain.
Scientific, actually.
I lock those chords in my brain, and then when you start singing, it's just like, all right, now I'm playing background, and it's like, he's playing open chords, I'm playing bar chords, or I'm playing different stuff higher up on the neck or something, and I'm trying to not necessarily double what you're doing, but play kind of what you're playing, but play it a little bit differently, or add a little bit of different,
Right.
sizzle to it, or whatever the heck it is. But
You do put some sizzle on it.
but I was, like, that was my biggest fear, was just like, if it's just you and I, how are we going to keep the rhythm? And then you got the beatbox that you use.
The looper, yeah.
Yeah, and that actually, there's some people that might turn their nose up at that, like, you need a real drummer or whatever, but
There's also the people that are not paying attention, and all of a sudden they hear a beat and then a rocking song, and they're like locked in. They're like, what is going on right now?
Yeah. There's been a lot of people that when we're like, all right, we're going to take a break, we'll be right back. And then all of a sudden somebody walks up like, what are you doing with the drums? And like, how's that working? And you're just like, it's this thing. And you're like, there's like, that is crazy. It's like,
It works out. We kind of got it dialed in. We got that mixer you told me. We got her dialed in pretty good now. We got the bass all figured out. So
yeah, I mean, when I first thought, like, I'm going to play live shows by myself, and then I buy extra gear. I bought a cheap mixer first, then I bought a little bit more fancy one, and then I only ended up playing a couple shows ever, and it's like, I don't ever use this mixer, and it's got effects all built into it and everything. It's like, I might as well just sell it to Jesse for cheap, and just
it's working
here we
nicely.
go. Yeah, and it works. And the fun part about that was I already knew how to use it, so it's not too hard to.
And now I'm halfway comfortable, using it now.
Yeah, I mean, you'll dial stuff in now, and that's the other fun thing, is like, you and I are both constantly learning off one another to get these things done. And I mean, not just learning off one another, but learning off, once again, all of the other people around the area, kind of seeing what they're doing, and maybe tailoring some of our stuff. Like I said, you borrow some of your favorite things from some of the other people and just toss them into your set or whatever, or whether it be a song, whether it be equipment, whether it be crowd interaction, whether it be the way you guys
stage presence, all of
yeah,
it.
the whole 9 yards. And I don't know, like, another thing that's kind of makes it fun is, like, you and I didn't really know each other too well when I first started playing with you. It was some guy at jam night, you were just some guy at jam night, and it's like, you want to come play some bass or whatever? It's like, yeah, sure. But now you and I are comfortable with each other, where we can, like, stage banter with each other.
Yeah.
We can give each other a little bit of crap here and there. And it's I'm I'm a little sensitive, so, like, I don't like when people give me shit or whatever, but, like, now it's kind of just one of those things where you and I can give each other a little bit of crap, and we can kind of,
Oh, it's all good.
get away with it and smile about it, so. But
I pity the fool.
like, I don't know, I always made the joke, like, there was the one show you and I were both wearing flat billed hats, and I was just like, we're gonna get tattoos across our abs and just FBK for the flat bill crew, and you were just like, no, like, so but
That's good stuff.
But yeah, I mean, it's you're a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll, it's we have two different styles, they mesh together well. And like, you and I have talked about it before too, where, like, I was in a band before where they'd be like, you're not this enough, you're not dressed that enough, you don't have facial expressions like this, you need to change your shoes because they don't match.
Oh, just picky about everything.
There is some truth to that. Like, I'm not going to go up to a Jesse Wilson music show and wear, like, a 3XL shirt and sweatpants, and like New Balances that are all grass stained from mowing lawn all day. Like,
Shout out to all the dads across America.
not that there's anything wrong with that. If you can shred and get away with it, go
Heck
for
yeah.
it, or whatever. But like, it does make me pretty happy to, like, be able to play in a place, with a person that isn't gonna just, like, overly judge me for, like, looking a certain way or acting a certain way. You're not, like, trying to, like, mold me into this thing that's just like, you gotta wear cowboy boots, you gotta have bedazzled butt jeans, and, like,
It's hard to mold you into what I don't even know what the mold is yet. So we're just kind of having fun and learning as we go. And yeah,
I mean, that comes back to the set list. The set list it's not like we're just playing, like, oh, we're playing all this old, we're playing Reba McEntire and George Strait and Alan Jackson. It's not like all just one thing,
Right.
It's a wide variety of stuff. I mean, like, you played Brown Eyed Girl the other night, and it was just like, all right, cool. This is
yeah.
neat, you know. And
Yeah.
there was another song. That's the thing is like we've played so many different songs where it's like I think we were looking at the Antler set and you played a song and it was just like this would be a fun song to play, and then you start playing and we were just watching some of the video back here and I was like, nice, you know. And I'm starting to throw a couple songs out there like, if you like this song, it's not terribly hard. Maybe we could give it a whirl. And like one of the songs I guess I could point out would be like Whitesnake, Here I Go Again.
Oh, yeah.
Still a little rough around the
Working
edges.
on it.
But when we played it at Stratford,
It went down nicely.
it went down nice,
Yeah.
you know. And some of that comes back to like, well, we played it Friday to an empty crowd.
Yep.
And then we played it Saturday. And once you have that, like, well, we played it last night and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you get that chance to be like, okay, I remember how this goes from yesterday. Now we can do this differently, and you could do that differently, and it just kind of mushes together into something awesome.
Definitely learning every show.
I think that's
Especially with the GoPro now, we were starting to video. That really, like, maybe I won't be so jumpy around on stage, you know, because I see myself looking like I'm all hyper up there, you know, so I'd chill out a little bit.
yeah, I might need to change my facial expressions when I solo, because if I'm not making funny faces, I just have this complete dead face where like my tongue's almost hanging out and stuff. And I mean, like that's the other thing is I'm starting to realize like how I interact with people, or like you on stage. I was saying like we'll be talking to each other, and sometimes I'm not even looking at you. I'm just like looking at the ground, just like yeah, this or whatever. And it's maybe I should like make a little more eye contact when I talk to people, or you know, like. Me and Owen were starting to pal around a little bit on stage, and like not all of that was caught on the GoPro and stuff, but you know it's like one of those things where we can like banter with each other and give each other a little bit of crap here
He's
and there.
very witty. You better have a comeback ready if you're having fun.
You might have to have two ready if you're talking to Owen, because he's always got
Bang,
something.
bang.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that's some of the funnest part about that too. I probably shouldn't cross my legs. You know that's one of the funnest things. I don't know why I said that out loud, but that's one of the funnest things about nobody's watching the video.
Live
anyways.
television.
Yes. So it's one of the funnest things about playing with Owen is it like gives me a chance to be like, oh, this is what the kids are doing these days. You know, I still think of myself as a youngster, but it's like
And he's rocking Primus. I mean, what are the kids listening to Primus these days?
no, that's his running joke online. Is it'll play like post a song online, and somebody or something, and somebody will be like, "Nice Primus shirt," and he'll just be like, "They suck," you know, like, and it's like clearly they don't, but
And
it's
he
just
rocks them.
yeah, you know, he's playing Primus songs or whatever, wearing the Primus shirt or whatever it is, you know, and I think that's also the fun part is like, you know, like I said, you have played other music other than country, but you know, like country is kind of what you lean into a little bit when you play live, and you know, like I for the most part like played like punk and metal growing up, and those were the two bands I was in previous to playing with you, and I'm still in a punk band. The metal band's kind of fizzled out, and I think that's reformed and everyone kind of went their own ways, but you know, I started playing like some blues stuff here and there, you know, so I like bring some of that in a little bit, you know.
It works
and,
nicely.
and Owen's got that like weirdo progressive bass stuff that he's starting to do, but I have to like change what I'm doing just a little bit to fit what you're doing, and then Owen's got to change a little bit of what he's doing to fit what you're doing, and then not only that, but then you're starting to realize like, oh well, Pete's going to take a solo here, and you're starting to realize like, well, if Pete's really feeling it, I'm just going to let him go another round with it,
like,
you know.
Yep. Don't shut it down. Keep it going.
Yeah, and I mean that's another thing where like sometimes when I am feeling it, it's just like, oh, that was good, you know, and it's not like I'm. Sometimes it's good.
Start singing the verse and damn you.
Yeah. Well, it's really fun too when you start to like really feel that kind of stuff, and the songs all just really start mushing together exactly perfectly. Where it's just like you can. I mean, we've played enough together now where you can. You know when I'm starting to wind a solo down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
Where you're just like, oh, he's going back down to this part where feels like the ending of the solo is coming, and you're kind of like letting it happen organically as I'm starting to figure out, or like I'll be like, usually he lets me go one go around this round, and then the next time it's this, or like on an intro it's just like
we're definitely starting to dive with all that stuff. It's getting to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I mean like when we bring new people in, it's really fun too. Like if like the time we let Vino come in, Vino plays more leads than I do usually, you know, and it fit perfectly, you know.
It was awesome.
And so it wasn't, you know, he didn't step on anyone's toes, and when he was playing leads that shouldn't have been busy, they weren't busy. I mean, Vino obviously knows what he's doing, but
Absolutely.
But you know, and that's another thing where we'll get up there and I'll be playing some stuff and we're having fun on stage, and people can see we're smiling and laughing, and I just like look over at Owen when we're getting ready to fucking there's a profanity. We're getting ready to like play some stuff, and I'm just like, Owen, take the lead on this one. He's just like, no. And then I'm just like, I just don't click on the boost pedal and just like look at him. I'm like, you're doing it, buddy. And,
And I kind of step back like, I'm not going to sing.
someone better solo. And I'm just like looking at Owen like, do it, you know? And
That's awesome.
He gives it a whirl, you know? And sometimes he's just like, I'm not doing it on this song. It's like, all right, I'll take over here or whatever. But
back to your rock and roll band and stuff you're talking about, you were in like some of our best covers that we did. And I was in a cover band called Dirty Thunder, was like Killing in the Name. What else? Cochise by Audio Slave. I mean, those were some of our crowd favorites and that we love. So I'm not against incorporating some of that stuff too.
yeah, I mean, once again, we played a Whitesnake song, so
Yeah.
like you're starting to mix in the '80s rock. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's anything off limits. I mean, we might have to change the tagline for Jesse Wilson to "You never know what you're going to hear at a Jesse Wilson music
Yeah,
show," because you never do. I mean, a couple of shows we did, I even got up and sang a couple songs, and it was because like I prefer playing a couple different bluesier songs or whatever, and I mean we kind of nixed that because they don't always go over very well because it's like a flip flop. It's like the other side of the coin. It's like, well, now I'm singing and Jesse's playing rhythm or whatever, but. The rough part about that is it's just like, well, now I got to sing and then play some leads and then do all this other stuff, and it's like, we'll just what we've got going on now works well enough, but like there's been a couple songs where like a couple times where we go up on stage and like the one time you had a cable that went out and we didn't know it was your cable, we thought it was your battery or something on your your acoustic, so it was just like, all right, well, we'll dial my guitar in like this and hit this pedal, and now I'm playing the rhythm, and Jesse's just doing the singing until we get to the end of the song and he can dissect what went wrong.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I think the issue was the cable on that night, because like you're singing and then it gets to a part where there's a solo and you quick flipped out a battery and had everything plugged back in and it didn't work, and then it was just like, all right, well, I guess
we're screwed.
This is how we're gonna go until the end of the song, and
Yeah.
once again it comes back to getting comfortable enough playing with one another where it's like you can start to realize what's going right and what's going wrong and how to fix it and things like that, and some of that comes down to like setting up the gear even, or mixing it correctly.
It's all new to me. I never messed with the mixer till this go around, so I'm learning as we go.
Yeah, and I mean, I've dinked around with one, but I haven't had to do it this intensively before, and
You're just like, you just turn that. You want that? You just turn that. There you go.
And that was another thing too, was like I came over here one afternoon to your place and I was just like, well, what we can do is we'll just get like a piece of paper out and I'll write down like I'll make a little picture like this is what a channel would look like, and if you plug it in here then you do this and this is what this one does, and if you do this is what this one does. And then it's just like, if you're doing vocals, maybe mix it like this, or if you're doing your beatbox, maybe mix it like that. And I'd never mixed a beatbox before, so we had to figure out what was the best way to do that.
Yep.
Like, this is too bassy, this is too punchy, this has too much high end, or whatever.
That paper still comes to every show. We don't look at it every time now, but it still comes with.
yeah. And like I said, I'm even learning how to do some of this stuff because, like, I sang some background with you here and there, and then after a while I just quit, and then it was just like, all right, I'll start singing some more background with you. And I think the last time I picked it up was at Shiny Top, and at that show I mixed everything a little bit different for my mic just to see what would happen. And we get done, and there were some
effects.
Yeah, there were some people that were just like, I couldn't hear anything you were saying. It's like, oh, okay, so I can't turn the mids down that far, so or something like that. You start to figure out like,
learning.
yeah, it's not like it's bad, but it's just like you just start to figure out like, at this show, this particular thing didn't go as well as it could have. Improve it for the next show.
And acoustics are different everywhere we go to. We got to dial that in too. So.
Yeah, the first time we played at Stratford, it was inside in one of the biggest rooms we've ever played in.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's just like the next time we played outside, and it was just like, oh man, we got to make all this stuff hot.
Yep.
We gotta mix this hot. Or the private party was literally like in Stratford, we played in a tent, an outdoor tent. But at the private party, we were just in a yard,
open area. Yeah.
And that was one where I figured out like, oh, we're gonna have to make the mic really hot.
Oh, yeah.
That way you don't have to like yell into it, because you start to lose the sound. It just like disappears into the air, like it's up in the trees and gone.
Thank goodness it wasn't windy Friday. That would have been bad.
Oh yeah. Oh man, especially with all the dust that was there.
Man.
That's another thing. You start to learn like, what do I need to bring to the next show? It's like
big mat.
Yeah, an extension cord.
Extension cord,
tape,
duct tape.
Just you start to see these weird things where you're just like, I play guitar. Why would I need to play? Bring duct tape. And then when we played at Bootleggers, it was like, well, if we put everything here, here, and here, we're gonna need duct tape to keep the cables
Tripping,
over
yeah.
there, or whatever. And so you start to realize stuff. And like one of the things I'm realizing, like I should probably start bringing like a rug with me. You never know when a rug might come in handy or something like that, or
I got some rugs spotted too. I'll show you.
All right, yeah, I was something we need to snag up some rugs or something like that. But I think that's some of the funnest things about. Oh man, we already got an hour in here. That's some of the funnest things about doing all this is just like learning as you go and figuring out what you need to do to improve things. And like I said, I started picking up my favorite things from other musicians around the area, and I'm sure you've done the same.
Absolutely.
One of the things being like. I use a PV Classic 30 as an amp. I got that idea from Chris Carr. He was like, "This is a workhorse amp. It's simple. It's versatile. It does pretty much anything you need to do from like country to blues to rock."
Perfect.
And it's like neat. Let's pick it up. And I got one, and
You can lug it in pretty easily, in and out.
yeah, you put it in one hand, and in you come. And then it's like if the show is a big show, it's like, well, you just get the extension cabinet underneath of it, and then I learned the hard way at Stratford. Like if you're gonna bring the extension cabinet,
Plug it in.
plug it in. We were playing that show in Stratford, and I had that thing cranked, and I'm like, there's 2 speakers here. It should be pushing so much air. And then at the end of the show, I was like, I didn't plug it in. So these are just starting to realize some stuff, or like even like the mains you have, or we use powered mains, and I was like. Someone was saying one time where like it sounds clearer on this side of the stage than that side, and so like the next time we went and played the show, I was like, oh, the settings are different on these two, so I adjusted the settings, and then someone was like, that sounds great, and it's like, all right, cool.
Perfect.
You just start to figure out what you got going on right, what you got going on wrong.
That's why it's exciting. Every show, I still feel like almost every show is getting better. So, because we're learning something every show, I think.
Yeah, whether equipment, how to interact with the crowd, songs,
Everything. Yeah.
everything, and. I mean, we've played some shows where the payout's really good. We've played some shows where the payout's not really good. We've played some shows where there's a lot of tips. We've played shows where there's not a lot of tips. And it's like it just is what it is, and you start to realize which places you want to come back to and which places you might want to book more sparsely, or maybe you don't book like 7 shows in a month in Fort Dodge because it might get a little tired of you or whatever, and then you start to figure out like, well, this place is kind of our home base, and I would call Bootleggers our home base. That's a place where we could play every other week, and the crowd will still love it,
You
and
bet. Good times down there.
So that's just is what it is. So online you got all sorts of stuff. You got new songs coming out. You got what's the next song you're going to be releasing? Stiff Drink, probably.
Stiff Drink. Me and Scott Kirkhart co-write. Coming real soon. We're hashing out the date, and we'll start plugging it online really hard, advertising for a couple weeks, and then we'll probably drop it. So
nice. Hoping to drop that one before Crash My Crater.
That would be awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. That's the goal.
That's the goal. So otherwise, yeah, Crash My Crater. That's going to be in Manson. I don't know the date off the top of my head. My phone's across the room, but
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I think Corey Waller and the Wicked Things play. Scott Kirkhart and Nico Moon is headlining.
oh god, yeah.
Yep.
I keep forgetting it's Nico Moon's going to be there.
You bet. I'll be
So,
there.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Maybe Jess will even get pulled up on stage to play Stiff Drink with Scott. You never know.
That would be awesome.
It would be kind of fun. Maybe I'm just trying to put that out in the universe to see if it happes.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah. Does that mean I'm going to get up there? No, I'm not ruining that.
Hopefully I have my voice by then.
So you got new songs coming out. You still have other songs that are already out there still. Everything, if you can just search Jesse Wilson.
Jesse Wilson Music, all my socials.
Yep, that's at Jesse Wilson Music. It's pretty easy to find. You got it all nicely organized. You got.
Thanks. Shout out Peter Stockdale for helping me organize.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is like I think to myself, I've spent a lot of time working with the Three Finger Betty band, trying to get all that stuff organized. Still sucks that the social media page went away and blah 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 for Facebook, but. I start to realize like, well, if we have all the names are the same, it's easy to find, and then you can, if you want to like make a sticker, you can just put your @ symbol underneath the sticker or something like that or whatever, or if you need a logo, hit up a graphic designer, they'll do it, and you and I found out like, hey, if you want somebody to take pictures of you, you can, all you gotta do is ask,
Just give them money and they take pictures.
Yeah, that's the other thing. You want somebody to take professional pictures, find someone and pay them money, it's like, can you and I, would it have been nice to have the money in our pockets? Yeah, but at the same time, like, are we going to have pictures if we kept the money? No. So, and it's, Bree's been taking pictures at shows, so it's kind of nice to have, somebody in our circle that comes to the shows start taking pictures.
Heck yeah,
so
it helps out.
It really does, and like the last show, you made a Facebook event page for, and the picture on there, I was like, that's a pretty cool picture. Bree, did you take that picture? And she's like, yeah, I took a lot of pictures. And I'm like, cool. It's like you had to find the one where my face wasn't all like open mouthed and drooling, right? You know, 'cause,
Mine too. Don't worry.
yeah, that's the other thing I started to realize when I started taking pictures at shows. They don't all look good, so you better take a bunch to find out which ones do that. You know, and
We got some merch coming too soon. We'll have shirts, black tees, and white V-necks, of course. Jesse Wilson Music logo.
oh sweet, white V-necks.
Catch us at a show, pick one up, or we'll figure out an online store or something.
Yeah, I'll help you set up an online store. There's a few different places you can do it. If anybody's looking for online stores, you can do Big Cartel is a popular one amongst artists. Otherwise, a lot of bands do the Bandcamp. I think Shopify is one that a lot of people are starting to use now too as well. So there's a few different avenues you can go. I don't off the top of my head know what the rates and the different expenses you have to pay to put any of those up there, but I know a lot of those will offer free online stores for you, or you can do like the long route and put everything on Amazon or something, or create your own, which might be tough. I mean, I know people that do good selling merch just making a Facebook post,
right.
once every other week or something,
right.
Just said Venmo me or whatever and put your information down below and I'll send it to you, so you can do it without using fees to take away from how much income you might have or whatever. But
or you can come to the live show.
Do the live shows are the best. Every time I'm at a live show, I always think to myself, no fees, no shipping. It's less of a headache for them because, like, whatever, they don't have to ship stuff and then worry about the fees of purchasing stuff online or anything. And it's like, I'm not wearing my Scott Kirkhart hat today, but it's just like, Scott, hat, hook it up, and you see him at a jam night and boom, hat.
Awesome.
Matt Woods, same deal. I went to a Matt Woods show and it's just like, Matt, I need some stickers. I need a hat, and he just, here's money, just take it, and I like wearing other people's stuff at shows, too, because it's just like, I wear like my regional rock hour shirt to a jam night or whatever it happens to be, just I like giving everyone else the shout outs because
heck yeah,
I don't think you and I would be where we're at if other people didn't help us be where we're at,
It was pretty cool. Jeremy Over was wearing a Clint Riedel Wiener Dog shirt in the music video Come Back Home.
Yeah. And that was one when I first saw him
awesome.
have that. I was like, where did you get that? And he's like, I got it off a dead guy. And I was like, I don't want to, okay, cool. But that's the other thing. If you want, Clint Riedel shirts, you better get one when they have them because they're gone quick. I was wearing that Blue Ribbon Ramblers shirt at the show in Stratford and somebody saw the picture and asked me where I got it. And I said, it's gone.
Very cool shirt.
You ain't getting any more of those Blue Ribbon Rambler shirts. They're gone. Like maybe they'll do another run of them, but maybe that comes back to you and your shirts. I don't know how many you're going to end up ordering, but a lot of us can't afford to go order 100 shirts and then wait to sell them all. You might only have 20 or 25 shirts or something. So like they might go boom like that, and it's like, do you want to just keep making the same shirt over and over and over again? No, it's kind of boring. So you might just get a different design, a different style of shirt. Like you said, V-neck whites, and then maybe the next one's will be black with a
T-shirts,
single color, or this one's cotton or that one's unisex, like cotton poly blend or something.
Absolutely.
You never know. Maybe Jesse's gonna do socks or something. I don't know what he's got going on.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So keep your eye out on all the socials for Jesse Wilson Music.
Appreciate that.
It's one of those things I never in a million years thought I'd be playing 4-hour shows. I never thought I'd be playing this many shows. I never thought I'd have the ability to get paid as well as I'm getting paid to play shows. And I used to always think like, is it justified to pay these people as much as some of them are getting paid? And then I started actually doing what they're doing, and I have to say, yes. You got to show up at least an hour early to these shows to start setting up, and then you tear down an hour later. Yep. And guess what? You got to drive an hour one way to get there, and then drive an hour one way back. And it's like, before you know it, it's like we had a 10-hour day.
It's part of the big machine, man.
Yeah, it's a lot of that stuff that even I, as a musician myself, forget about. Because, like I said, I played in punk bands, and a lot of that was just like, we'll show up. The show's 9 to midnight, so show up at 8:30. And if you're not first, you just sit and wait, and then you just haul all your stuff up on stage at 10, play for 40 minutes, and then haul it all off stage and put it in your car, and you're done.
That's wild.
So like, yeah, exactly. It's completely different. So like my setup was all set up to be a way where it's just like I have to hook all my stuff up as fast as I can and then get it the hell off the stage as fast as I can for the next band.
And I've heard like even like some of the hip hop shows, like the artists almost have to pay to be on those bills.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Depending on what kind of shows. Like, and I've been involved with some of that a little bit myself too with the metal band. A lot of those are pay to play. And I guess, some people like that, some people don't. I guess I understand the benefit of some of that too, though, is the fact that like we've played some pay to play shows where it's like, you have to sell X amount of tickets or whatever in order to get on the show, just to be there. But there's so many people there for the headliner, it makes sense to be there. And how do you recoup your money on the back end? You've got to have merch.
Yeah.
You got to have something to put in the people's hands to send them home with.
You got to have a set as well.
A set that's going to be bring the thunder too. So it's two completely different beasts, and I've been exposed to this one. It's kind of crazy because, like I said, I never in a million years thought I'd be doing what you guys were all doing out there, playing those long sets and doing the full shows.
Not that we want to do marathon shows. I mean, 2 hours is pretty nice.
2 hours is a nice length for a set because you can just put all the bangers in there, or if you're playing at a place where it's all sit down stuff, you can put all the nice calm chill songs in there and put a couple other ones in there. Like we've learned to end most of our sets where it's like a rowdier crowd. It's like, well, we're putting this song at the end because we know what song it's going to be. You know, we're going to mash up a few songs and ham it up real good at the end there, and we're starting, like you said, we're starting to figure out how to tailor that set list to people and the crowd or the venue or whatever, and it's
all parties are happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the goal.
So yeah, once again, I'll just say it again. Check out Jesse's stuff at Jesse Wilson Music online, pretty much anywhere. He's got a music video. You got 2 music videos. One music video. One music video,
but I got some covers that I just did phone videos for you.
There's some live videos. We just went through a bunch of different live videos. You'll probably end up chopping some of those up and tossed them online too here.
On YouTube.
So, keep that in mind if you're looking for other stuff on YouTube to watch. Jesse's got some stuff on YouTube to watch. The YouTube channel, believe it or not, we redid it that one day. You and I sitting down, I showed you how to do some of that stuff, and then you just put something out there like, "Hey, we beefed up the YouTube channel," and it was like you went from like 50 subscribers to like 90, like in like a week, awesome. And it was like nice,
pretty awesome,
nice, So it's cool, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to sit down and play music with you and do things like that, and it's nice to share this journey with you and grow and change with you.
Absolutely.
And see how much better you're getting at it, because that's something like I just have to say that almost at every single show. It's just like, man, 4 months ago, I mean, you've been doing this solo style stuff, singer-songwriter stuff, for about a year or so now. But like I've only been with you for about half the journey, and it's wild to see how much better you've gotten. Not that you weren't good to begin with, but
there were some growing pains in the beginning there.
But it's wild to see how good you've gotten, and now it's just like it's to the point now where it's like I don't even have to be here anymore if I don't really want to. Jesse could do this all on his own. He could bring some other guitarist in if he wants to, and it would be just as good. And that's nothing against my abilities. And I'm not saying Jesse's so good he could be a super mega star or whatever. But like, it's cool to see how awesome you've gotten in such a short amount of time.
Thank you for the kind words, man.
Yeah, some of that comes back down to the fact we're playing 3 shows in a weekend sometimes or whatever. So that
helps.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll just say once again, I appreciate you sitting down with me and inviting me to play so much live music with you. It's absolutely it's a ball.
Appreciate you coming.
Yep. Thanks, man.
You bet.
Oh, baby. That's another episode in the bank. Gotta say huge shout out to my buddy Jesse. Like I said in the episode a million times over, and like I said in the intros, it's really cool to see how far he's progressed. And the two of us have had, quite a bit of different. We're very different people. I also said it in the episode. He's a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll, but that doesn't mean Jesse doesn't like to rock out himself. He's played when he played in his cover band before all of this. They played a lot of 90s rock and early 2000s rock songs and things like that. So he's no spring chicken when it comes to playing the rock music. So that's another fun thing about his songs is he's not just saying, okay, we got to play country music and we got to play it exactly like this, and it's got to be really, really country style, So we both throw a little bit of what we've got, and we bring it to the table and we make something that's all completely brand new. So you get this little rockin' country with a little bit of bluesy feel to it, and depending on who else shows up, if I can't make the show, he brings in another guitarist, and that's one of the other fun things is they get to add their, spice into the mix, and every time you go to a show, it's a little bit different depending on who's in the crowd and what's going on. So it's really kind of neat to have all that kind of going on, and it's just awesome to see somebody else progressing into the music scene and making a name for themselves. And Jesse's not shy about giving shout outs, and it's one of the funnest things about going to the shows, and we like to banter with each other when we're on stage, and we're kind of getting more comfortable doing that, and interacting with the crowd. And I'm not shy about, if there's another musician in the crowd, it's like, hey, you want to come up and play some leads on a couple songs? And Jesse's cool with it too. And he's getting really good at being flexible up on stage, as far as, different person playing leads or something like that, or giving me the space to play the leads I want to, or we're kind of, have this thing we're starting to realize we don't even have to talk to each other on stage, where it's like, if he knows I'm ripping a solo and it's going good, it's just like, well, let him go another round with it or whatever, so it's really cool. Check it out. Check out all of his information down below. Go to his Facebook page or his Instagram page, or check out his YouTube channel for that music video, or to check out some of his studio stuff. Unless you have Spotify, you can find it on there, or wherever you listen to music. Just search for Jesse Wilson and find his tunes there. He's got more tunes in the books. He's always working on new tunes. He's got a bunch of them that are about half done. We play them live, but he's working on the studio versions of them. So it's really going to be kind of cool to see what those come out sounding like, because even on the studio versions, he brings in different musicians and collaborates with different people, and it's just really cool to have. I just think what he's doing is really neat, just based on that fact. He's involving different people in the community from different genres, and bringing them in to play different instruments on different songs, and it really doesn't matter who it is. If you got any sort of talent or any sort of drive or desire to jump in and do some of this stuff, he'll bring you in. I've recorded some of the scratch tracks for some of his studio work, and none of my stuff has really made it onto the studio songs, but that, I'm all right with that, because it's just whoever ends up being the one that he picks, because he'll have couple different people lay down leads, or a couple different people lay down the bass lines, or whoever, and whatever fits the best for the song when, he's trying to get it out there is who gets to be chosen. I know he's done that with a couple of hip-hop artists, as far as bringing them in and letting them spit a few bars on a couple songs, and sometimes one guy gets chosen, and other times another guy gets chosen, and it's one of those blending of the styles things that he does that really kind of makes his music intriguing. It's not just country, and it's not just rock and roll or whatever, it's a little bit of mishmash of every single thing that's going on, and he's starting to realize, like, maybe I can keep some of these outtakes on these songs, when people are just up there. It's like, well, record a take on this, and they kind of goof off, and it's like, since we're not doing the old school reel-to-reel analog thing where we have to clip stuff apart and tape it all back together and do all that stuff, it's, he's got all these awkward, weirdo takes of things where he might be able to make remixes of these songs eventually. So that's one of the other cool things, I think. He's got a lot of stuff he's working on, a lot of stuff hanging out in the background there it's going to end up being really neat. So hats off to him. Check out all of his information down below. Yeah, this is I gotta say thanks to everybody that listens to these episodes. Thanks to everybody that comes out to the shows and hits up Jesse for more bookings. My schedule's starting to fill up quite a bit with playing shows with Jesse, and I just gotta say, thanks to him for inviting me along, and thanks to everybody for enjoying the tunes and getting involved in the shows. I've met a lot of really cool people doing the podcast, and not only that, but I've met a lot of really cool people playing shows with Jesse. So thank you very much to Jesse on behalf of me for that. And I got to say thanks to all the people that listen to the podcast each and every week. If you want to support the podcast, you can do it monetarily by checking out the shop. There is a link for that down below, the Audible Farm shop. We've got t-shirts, a very small selection of hoodies, and there's also these decals down below as well. All sorts of different styles and things like that. If you want to support the Patreon page and watch the video versions of this, video versions of the podcast are available. It's $1 a month. There's going to be roughly 4 episodes a month, so that's like a quarter an episode. That's $12 a year. I mean, it's really not too much to ask if you guys just want to watch some video versions of the podcast. Otherwise, if you want to support non-monetarily, the easiest way to do that would be to, subscribe to the YouTube channel, or to share the pages that you watch us on, or just share the posts of your favorite episodes, or maybe even leave a review wherever you're listening to it, or just interact in any way online. Any of that stuff kind of helps the algorithms out and things like that. So if you want to support and you don't want to do it monetarily, there are other ways to go about doing it. So check that out. I got to say thanks to everybody for doing what they do and working hard out there in the music scene and listening to the episodes and supporting one another. That's what it's all about. So, yeah, thanks. I'll check you guys next week. Peace.